Before I get into this review, I do have a little story that I have to tell. So, a friend of mine, this was a while back, started watching The Walking Dead for the very first time, and he asked me, "Hey Jake, I remember everybody talking about that there was a cliffhanger in the show that got everybody out of control. Well, I just finished season 4 and that ended in a cliffhanger. Was that the cliffhanger that everybody was talking about?" And I said, "Oh no. No, 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 no. You're not even close, man. It's at the very end of season 6. And yes, the cliffhanger of season 6 drove everybody mad. It was crazy. I mean, as I mentioned in my season 4 review of The Walking Dead, for all of you that are on Netflix or on a streaming service, you will never even imagine how stressful that cliffhanger was. 9 months just to find out what happened. And honestly, I loved it. It was a really good scene, and I'm thinking to myself, man, if the only thing that would make this a whole lot more stressful is if it ends in a cliffhanger, which it did. We kind of highly expected it, my family and I, when we watched it. But yeah, that was that. So, The Walking Dead Season 6. So, The Walking Dead Season 6 is arguably, in my mind, my favorite season of The Walking Dead. Why? Because there were two moments in the comic books that I absolutely enjoyed, and I really hope that they would do it justice on screen, and those moments happen in this season, and they nailed it. I mean, they spot on, hit the target. It was amazing. And that would have to be in the second half of this season. The first part of this season, not the best part. I mean, that entire first part was a drag. I mean, it starts off after the events of season 5. Rick is now escalated into a leader position, and he's trying to teach the people of Alexandria, people who have not faced the walkers or even faced survival for this entire time, trying to teach them how to survive. And one problem that they are getting is this massive hole in which there's probably thousands of walkers in there, and they keep piling in, and it's close to Alexandria, and they need to get rid of those walkers as quick as possible. And fighting a herd of walkers like that with just guns or knives and all such is not exactly the brightest decision in the book, so they have to lead them away, but this is The Walking Dead. It's not that simple. And and the way they played it out in the first part was really interesting. When they focused on it, when the walkers start heading into Alexandria and all such, it kind of looks like a situation where, oh my gosh, the walkers are getting in, we're losing our home, we now have to get out there, survive again, and find a new place. That's really what it felt like. And if they would have just focused on that, I think the first half of the season wouldn't have been so bad. I mean, remember in the last couple of seasons that I was talking about this loop storytelling? Well, that so-called loop storytelling comes back to rear its ugly head in this season, and it happens when, I guess you all heard the term right here, when the fake Glenn death scene. It was a scene where Glenn and this guy were sitting on top of a dumpster. The other guy dies, lands on Glenn, and it looks like Glenn is going to be eaten alive. Everyone was panicked when they saw that, because Glenn is one of the biggest characters in The Walking Dead. And to see a major character die is a big, shocking moment. And we wanted to see what would happen next in the very next episode. But Loop Storytelling said, no. Instead, you're going to wait 1 month before you can find out what happened to Glenn. Yeah, 4 episodes later, we find out that Glenn did not die. He crawled underneath the dumpster, and that was that. I'm telling you guys, that loop storytelling is probably the thing that shot The Walking Dead in the face. It just did not work. And it did not work in this season either. And it's going to come back to haunt The Walking Dead in later seasons. And I'm telling you, it's not fun to rewatch again. But anyway, the second part of the season, that's where everything becomes fun for me. Because, like I said, there are two parts in the comic books that I wanted to see put on screen. The second part of this season had that. And the first part is that something happens to Carl, Rick's son, and they get inside the house. All the people of Alexandria are now locked in their houses because the walkers have officially entered the place. But instead of sitting there and hiding, Rick decides to pull out an axe and maybe even a knife and go out there and start killing as many walkers as possible. And then you see his group come out there to help him kill all these walkers. Then you see the entire town of Alexandria coming out there following his lead to take back their town. I loved this moment from the comic books because it tells us we're tired of running. We're tired of survival. We are going to take our town back and we are going to live again. This is the Rick Grimes leader that he officially becomes. He's not officially the good guy. He's not officially the bad guy. He's not that crazy person that you saw after the prison left. He is now the official leader. He leads by example. He is strong, and he knows how to make tough decisions. He's just the guy that everyone wants to follow and everyone wants to listen to. He is proven to be a true leader and not just somebody that they chose in an election. But anyway, the second thing that I really enjoyed in this season was the introduction of Negan. Now, the way they played this out was that Negan doesn't just show up one day like the governor did in season 3. No, his name is mentioned several times in several other episodes as if it's like an entity or something. It kind of brought me back to the Lord of the Rings movies whenever they brought up Sauron's name, but you never really see Sauron. He's just that entity in the background, the enemy that you don't see, but you know he's a very big deal. That's really what this whole conversation about Negan before he shows up, that's what it felt like. And the way they build it up, I thought they did a really good job with that. And when he finally does show up, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, dude, he killed it as Negan. I mean, the way he talks, the way he grins, this guy just looks like someone you don't want to mess with. You don't want to cross paths with. You don't even want to be on his, well, I can't say the S word on YouTube. Let's just say his hate list. But anyway, the way they pulled out this scene, it was scary, it was shocking, it kind of looked like a hopeless situation, and then we finally get to the cliffhanger ending. Now, when the cliffhanger ending happened, my family and I really speculated that was how this episode was going to end, as well as this season would end. But you should have seen the outcry of the internet after this episode. I mean, everyone was just mad. They went crazy. I mean, what happened? What did Negan do? What's gonna happen in the very next season? All that. No spoilers here. You gotta watch the season. And I'm telling you right now, you're not gonna be disappointed. At least now when it's on streaming services, you don't have to wait 9 months just to see season 7. And when we finally get season 7, oh yeah, you'll find out what happens next. And does that mean season 7 is going to be a great season, just like the second half of season 6? Well, we can only hope and dream. But anyway, I gotta say, The Walking Dead season 6 is technically my favorite season of The Walking Dead, but even I am not dumb enough to ignore the problems that this season has, so I'm not going to give it a legendary status. It's just the two moments that happened in this season is something I really wanted to see on the big screen after reading them in the comic books. It did not disappoint. I really enjoyed it. So I gotta say, The Walking Dead Season 6 is classic. And now we get to move on to the downfall of The Walking Dead. And oh boy, this is going to be a whole lot of fun. But anyway, those are my thoughts on The Walking Dead Season 6. Hey guys, have you seen Season 6? What did you think of it? Whatever you thought, comment down below. Also, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you in the next video.